This is Grace from Sobriety 7. I am Cheyenne's virtual assistant. Are you looking to work with Cheyenne or just get more info?
I'm looking to work with Cheyenne.
Awesome. Let's get started. I'll ask you a few questions to see if you're a good fit for working with Cheyenne. First, could you please tell me your full name?
Luis Castro.
Great to meet you, Luis. Since we primarily work with women, are you looking to work one-on-one with Cheyenne?
If you're new to Vapi, I'm going to be showing you everything that you need to know to be able to create these AI voice agents to answer your calls. Now, you might be asking, what are these AI agents useful for? Well, let me list it out. First, you can automate call handling, which means you can answer common customer questions, reducing the hold times. Number two, appointment scheduling, which means you can book, reschedule, or cancel appointments via voice interaction. Number three, 24/7 customer support, always being available to assist customers even outside business hours. Number four, complaint handling and ticketing. This means logging customers' complaints and directing them to the right departments. Number five, lead qualification, pre-screening potential leads before passing them to sales teams. Number six, follow-up calls and reminders, sending automated voice follow-ups to warm leads. Number seven, automated room service orders, allowing guests to order their food and amenities via voice AI. And lastly, number eight, flight and travel itinerary updates, notifying travelers about their flights and changes. And honestly, this is just a fraction of the amount of ways that you can actually use AI agents in real businesses. But just to be clear, to create some of these services that I mentioned, it's gonna take more than just Vapi, which is the platform that we use to be able to create these AI voices and connect them to other platforms that actually allow you to create these services that I mentioned before. But honestly, it's best if we just start here in Vapi, because I'm telling you, all this AI stuff can get complicated very quickly with everything that you need to learn. And take it from me, somebody that just started a little over a week ago, it becomes a lot. And if you're not careful, you might bite more than you can chew, and you might just end up giving up. So we want to avoid that at all costs. We're going to start here in Vapi, and without further ado, let's get right into it. Let's not waste any time. All right, so we're here in Vapi, and I'm just gonna say this very quickly. I think it's beneficial if you watch this video rather than other videos, just because when I'm explaining this to you, it's gonna be in plain English. I'm not gonna say any crazy terminology. I haven't been doing this for 8 months, 9 months, a year. I've been doing this for just a little over a week now. And so when I'm running through this, it's gonna be in plain English, no fancy terminology. So without wasting any more time, let's just get straight into it. So here we got the overview. This is simply where you can see all your basic analytics and how much you're spending and everything with people actually calling your phone, and because you get charged. So this is going to show you how many minutes people have used up your AI, how many calls have came in, how much you've spent in that. And this has all just been based off of us testing the AI that we currently have right now for one of the businesses that we're working with. And so besides the overview, this is going to be the most important right here, platform. This is where you're going to have all the important stuff. So in here, in Assistant, this is where you're going to be able to create your actual AI voice agent, the person that's going to have like all the information that's going to talk to people. And the way you do that is you simply come here. You can already see we have one right here, Grace. But to create a new one, you're going to create Assistant. And then you can name the assistant here whatever you want. And you can do it blank, or you can go ahead and just pick one of the presets that they have here, whether it's appointment setting, customer support, inbound Q&A, or game NPC. Whichever one suits you best, choose the one that you want and just go ahead and create the assistant. So we go ahead and create the assistant, and you can see that all this is blank. And so we're just gonna start off with the one that we do have here. Actually, before we dive into this one, let me continue walking you down this section right here. So this is where you create your assistant, like I just said. Next, you have the phone numbers right here. So the phone number is very important because this is how people are actually going to be calling and getting connected to the AI. Without the phone number, there's no person calling a number or something and actually being able to speak to the AI. So you can pick a number from Vapi. Vapi gives you a number here, or you can import a number from Twilio or Vonage, right? What I did, because I watched one of these other guys' tutorials, they had a Twilio number, and so I went ahead and I did that, and I imported my number from Twilio. So when you import your number from Twilio, it's gonna be here. It's gonna be assigned to whoever it is that you want. I assigned it to Grace right here, and then there's nothing else that you have to do down here. All right, so that's the phone number. You need that. Next, files. Files is essentially the knowledge base. So when somebody is asking, for example, let's take clinics as an example. If somebody's asking, hey, what's the nearest clinic to me? I'm based out of North Hollywood in California. Then what you can do is in this docs or PDF, whatever it is that you upload, the AI is going to refer to that knowledge base and look for the closest one based on what the person said. So they say North Hollywood, California. Then it's going to look in the database of all the places that you have listed. You have the name of the clinic, you have their address, the phone number, and everything. It's going to find the one that's closest to that location, and it's going to recommend that location. So that's what this is, the knowledge base. It's just a bunch of information that you want your AI to know about your business. Okay? Tools right here. This is going to be what the AI extracts from calls. Okay? So what you do right here is you click new tool, and then you can do a custom, or you can do a make one, or a go high level one. And with this, I'm going to dive into this a little deeper later. But for now, all you need to know that tool is the thing that allows you to allows the AI to start extracting information from somebody's call to transfer it to other platforms. Like I said earlier in the video, you can't just work off of Vapi alone. You need to use other platforms and softwares, but we're going to leave that for another video. For this one, that's all you need to know. Tools right here, as you can see, tool name, you're going to see it extracts the full name, the phone number, and that's basically all we have here for this AI agent. Next, there's blocks right here. This you don't need. Don't even worry about it right now. We're not going to get into it. Honestly, I don't even know what the fuck this is. So we're going to leave blocks out of the equation right now. And squads, what I do know about this is that you can create multiple AIs. So when somebody is calling, the AIs rotate, and it's not always the same person. There's a squad of AI assistants that you can have, right? So that's what you do here in squad, but I've left this one alone. We're not using it right now. Next, this is just like the voice library that Vapi has, which we don't need to get into this right now. And then logs, the last one right here. This is essentially calls. When people make a call, it's gonna start logging every single call that comes in, and it's even gonna record it. It's gonna give you all this information about it, and like the duration, how long it lasted, and all that, how much it cost you. And when you click on it, you can actually see the recording. You can play the recording and everything, right? Of like how the interaction went. So that's basically it for calls. API requests, this is gonna have to do with other stuff of other platforms. You don't need to know about this right now. And webhooks, again, you don't need to know this. So we're gonna come back to the top to assistants, because this is where you're gonna spend most of your time. So in assistants, the first thing that you have to focus on right here is this bar right here, all these different views that you have, okay? The first one, model. Model is gonna be the place where you can prompt your assistant and let it know what is its position, what is its job, what is its purpose, and you can you can give it instructions on what it should be saying. So, for example, ring, 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 somebody calls. The first message when the AI answers, this is what it's going to be saying. Hello, it's Grace with Sobriety 7. Happy that you're reaching out. Can I ask you what your full name is? So that's the first thing that the AI says. And now right here in system prompt, you're going to see that like I said earlier, we've told the AI what is its role. Give it some context so it understands, because otherwise it's blank. It doesn't know who it is, how it should be talking, for who it should be talking. This is where we give it context. So what I've written right here is, you're a voice assistant for Cheyenne, the sobriety coach, and this is supposed to say the sobriety coach of Sobriety 7, which is a women's sobriety community that helps women free themselves from alcohol addiction. You are tasked with answering questions about Sobriety 7's coaching/community, qualifying leads, and getting them to take the next step if they are ready to start working with Cheyenne. Right? So now I gave it some context right here of what the AI's job is. Next, in questions to ask, we went step by step everything that the AI should be asking to start extracting information from this lead, essentially, right? What's your phone number? Perfect. Thank you for the information. I want to ask you a few questions to see if you're a good fit with Cheyenne. So tell me, how many days have you been sober so far? And so this is where you're literally from 1 to number 10, you're just having a set of questions that you're asking the person that's on the call. Now at the bottom right here, I've added extra notes, so you can take this for yourself. Use casual language, phrases like well, and I mean. These are preferred, right? So now that the AI is talking to the person, it's throwing these into its phrases to make it sound a little more natural and a little more human. Ultimately, what we want to do with these voices is not make them sound robotic. You want to make them sound as human as possible. And that's why you see right here, I'll say certain things like, well, I hope you have the best day of your life. Insert the name, and it's like a little pause. Okay, well, message Cheyenne the word ready and goodbye now, right? So I'm adding like these little like, okay, like it makes it interactive. It makes it seem like you're having the AI's having a conversation with the person. It's not just talking. Now, objection handling. This, I have it here as like a little bit of sales. If somebody says that they're not willing to pay for the service or anything, then this objection handles, it's kind of like a way to reframe the way they're looking at all this and make them continue taking the actions necessary to get them to buy from the business that we're working with right now. And then lastly, don't say or do. So when I was testing the AI, there was certain things that the AI was saying which were like, no, you should not be saying that in a call. And so what I did was I directly told the AI here in the bottom, don't say these things, 1 minus 1. So for example, in the script, it says, do you want to work one-on-one with Cheyenne? And so the way I put one-on-one was 1 dash on dash 1. And it was taking that as 1 minus 1. So I explicitly told it here, don't say 1 minus 1. It's pronounced 1-to-1 or one-on-one, right? So you tell it exactly what to say. And so don't be cheery, but be nice and calm. Honestly, now that I know a little bit more, I didn't even see that there at the bottom. You can't change like the tonality or anything like this with the text prompt. So that's going to be something else. Now that we got the prompt out of the way, provider. So I'm going to go into the ones that I do know, and the ones that I don't know, I'm just going to kind of stay away from. So provider, we know that we want to use the OpenAI as the thing it's thinking when it's talking to somebody. If it has to think a little bit, it's going to use OpenAI, and it's going to use this model, GPT-4o. There's multiple models, but so far this is the one that has worked the best for me. Now, knowledge base, like I told you earlier, remember when you add your knowledge base here where you can give it more context and information about your business. So if somebody goes off the script a little bit, right? If they go off the script that you set right here, then they can answer those questions if they have something based off the knowledge that you gave it. So that's where you would click here and you would select the file that you imported here. For me, right now, this shows none. Even though there is a file in here, it's showing none. And this is something that I already reached out to support for and to try to figure it out, because it shouldn't be like this. And I tried to code it a little bit earlier today and nothing was working. So when I figure this out, I'm gonna put this in the community, which you can check the link down below. Listen, it's 15 bucks a month, but with 15 bucks a month, if you run into any issues, what we're gonna do is answer everything. And I can tell you from the lessons that I've learned, I've spent an entire day and a half trying to figure, it wasn't with Vapi, it was another platform, but I spent an entire day and a half trying to figure something out. And I just called somebody from Fiverr, paid them, and they solved it like this. So lesson learned, I was like, I will never again spend more than an hour trying to figure out something when I can pay somebody $5, $10, $15 to get the information instantly, because they already know, they're experts in this. So that's why it's at 15. I have to charge a little bit, but it's gonna be absolutely worth it once you're in there and you're getting answers like this. You're gonna be able to move. Everything in business is speed. You have to move extremely quick. So get in there. It's only 15 bucks. Start working on all this stuff. If you run into anything, just hit us up and we'll work on it with you as fast as possible to get it resolved and get you moving. So back to this. The temperature, you want to have it at 1, max tokens 250, and then detecting emotion, you can keep that off. Okay, so now we're going to move to the next tab right here, transcribe. So transcription is basically, earlier when I told you right here about the calls, when somebody calls, it transcribes everything for you, right? So this is what you're choosing right here. What provider is gonna transcribe it for you? And right here, DeepGram is gonna be the one that you can choose. It's very good. Language, English, and model, Nova 2. And then right here, background denoising enabled, you're gonna have it on, all right? So next, we're gonna go to voices right here. And in voice configuration, what you're gonna do is select the provider, 11 Labs. I've heard that Play HT is pretty good, but 11 Labs it's the holy grail, honestly, right now, because they're the ones that just have the most amount of voices in there. And yeah, that's basically it. But with 11 Labs, I've chosen the voice Melissa. And don't be afraid to go in here and test them all out and see which one you like the best. That is what I did. I went in here, I knew I wanted a female voice, and I just tried all the female voices out and see which one worked. Now, when you're trying out the voices, you want to make sure you do this. You're going to want to click, select, here, I'm just going to do this right here, select that, and then you're going to want to click publish, and then come up here and talk with the assistant. You're going to be able to hear the voice. If you're just changing the voice right here and then going to talk to assistant, it's not going to update. It's not actually published, and you're not going to hear the new voice. You're just going to keep hearing the same one again and again. So I'm going to refresh just so it goes back to Melissa here. It didn't go, did I publish right here? I'm just going to search up Melissa. How do you spell Melissa? God dang. All right, right here. This is the one I had. Publish. So yeah, select the one that you want, publish it, and then test it out. That's how you're going to be able to hear it. Now, here for the model, choose 11 Turbo V2. That's going to be the best one from everything that I've heard. Next, you want to have the background off right here. You do have the option. If it's interesting when You put office, you click publish, and you click play, talk with the assistant, you can act, it sounds like there's an office background. And I think they're gonna be rolling out more in the future. But right now, for me, I just have this one as off. I don't know if that's published. I have this one as off, and just because I don't need the office background necessarily. Now, punctuations and boundaries. This is very important, and it goes hand in hand with the model section right here when you're adding your prompt in the system. So let's put it this way. You're in voice here, and you don't have any of these selected. You don't have the period selected. You don't have the question mark selected. Guess what? When you put a question mark here in your prompt, it's not going to treat it like a question mark. It's going to sound very weird, and that makes it sound even more like it's some sort of robot. So what you want to do is make sure that you're selecting, what I have is the period, the comma, and the question mark. The period, it's going to make sure that the inflections in the voice when it says goodbye now. Since there's a period there, it's going to say goodbye now. If it had a question mark, it would say goodbye now, right? And so this is where these punctuations really come in handy in how you want to make the voice sound. And you have to pick the correct ones for whatever sentence you're using, right? If there's a question, make sure to put a question mark, because it needs to make it sound like it's a question. And you need to make sure that you're enabling these. If you want, go ahead, choose the same ones right here. I have the period, the comma, and the question mark. You can select those. Those are the ones that I've chosen. Now, this is gonna highly depend on the voice that you choose, because they're all different, they sound different. But if you want, what you can do is start off with these settings, okay? So the first thing that we're gonna talk about right here is the back channeling enabled. Essentially, you wanna turn this on because this is gonna make it sound more natural. When the AI voice is done talking and the human is responding, the AI voice, if you have this off, it's just gonna stay quiet. And usually when humans are talking on the phone, if this person is talking, this person is kind of saying, yeah, right? It's like throwing little filler words in there to make it let the other person know that they're listening. And so that's what enabling the back channeling is gonna do right here for you. So you wanna have that on to make it sound more natural. Next, I'm just gonna rifle through these super quick. Stability, 0.7, clarity and similarity, 0.5, style exaggeration, 0.2, optimization, streaming latency, 3, right? And then this right here, use speaker boost, we wanna have it off. And yeah, the stability, I know that if you choose something that's a little low on the lower end for stability, that means it's gonna have more variety from call to call. And here's the thing, if you have it too low, it might say something like weird that it shouldn't be saying. But if you have it more on the higher end, then it's gonna sound like very structured every single time. And even if somebody says something that goes out of the script in the model section, like we talked about right here, somebody goes off the script, then if you have this too high, then it's not really gonna be flexible to be able to address that question. So you wanna have it somewhere at 0.7 where I have it right here. Clarity, similarity, you wanna have this around the middle because it was clarity plus similarity. You wanna have the clarity pretty high, right? But at the same time, you don't wanna like do it too low either. I don't think I made sense right there. But just clarity, 0.5, that's what sounds best. Style exaggeration, 0.2, and then optimizing for streaming latency. This is basically how long it takes for the AI to answer, right? We don't want it to take too long. We don't want it to be too quick where it doesn't sound human. So we have it at 3 right here. And then, yeah, style exaggeration, whatever model you choose here, it's going to exaggerate that a little more. So a little more, a little less, depending on what you choose here. Again, like I said, this is really going to come down to you. Play around with all these a little bit, but definitely I would say you probably want to stick to something like this. But at the end of the day, you're going to have to play around with it. So that's it for voices, the voice section. Next, function. So this is where we're going to get to the part where I told you we're going to leave this off a little till later. So we're going to come back over here to tools real quick. So in tools, when you create a new tool, this is what communicates with other platforms, for example, like make.com. This is where it might get a little like, it's going to be a little too much, but just bear with me and you're going to get it over time. You can connect Vapi with make.com. Vapi, like we're talking about right now, this is the platform where you can get a voice, right, from 11 Labs. It gets the voice, and then Vapi will actually make it is the platform that turns that voice into an assistant where you can prompt it and everything. And Vapi can also connect to other tools like make.com, which is an automation platform. So basically the way it works is when a call comes in, Vapi is the one that answers with the phone call, with the phone number that it has. Then from there, if the person is asking for information, the AI in make.com, which is the other platform, can go to a database and search some things and then come back with information. And so this is the way you connect these two tools, right? So in integration right here, you can see that we have a webhook, which is essentially the webhook is when somebody calls, this thing on the other platform fires off and it lets them know, hey, there's something active happening. Pay attention. That's all a webhook is. It triggers the other tool. So you put the server right here. In other videos, I'll show you where to find the webhook and everything and implement it in here. But just letting you know, this is what the server URL is. It's the thing that triggers the other platform. So in here, that's integration. I'm going to minimize this. So now in detail, when you expand this, you put the tool, the tool name. We put Sobriety 7 right here, the name of the business. And then in functions here, there's certain things that we want Vapi to extract from conversations, right? Because here we're asking what's their full name, what's their phone number. And so we want to make sure that the AI assistant is extracting that information and pushing it to the other platforms. And so the way you ensure that is by adding it here. All you do is click here on property and then you put property name. So for example, we would put, if it was more than just full name, phone number, let's say maybe I also want their email address. So you would put email address or just put email, and then you'd put a little description of what it is that you want this to do. So for full name, we put ask the person to provide their full name. For phone number, this is blank, but it would say ask the person for their phone number. And then in email, ask the person for their email. And so these descriptions aren't super important or anything. This is basically little descriptions for you. Maybe you want to put why you need it or what exactly it is. I did that pretty quick, but when you add a new one and everything, you just got to click save. Otherwise, it won't save and it's not going to stay there. And then you're going to notice this little string, like this little option here at the bottom. String, number, boolean, object, array. This comes down to coding. I just learned this today. I was starting to get into like, what is JSON, which is JavaScript object notation, I believe. I will put it up on the screen right here, what JSON actually means. But essentially, that's coding, and that's the way that the computers and the softwares communicate directly, and they know what is what. So if you're wondering what you would pick right here, string is basically just like a line of something. So an email would be, for example, my email, luiscastro12345@yahoo.com. That's a string. If you were to be asking for somebody's age, then you wouldn't put string. What you want is a number. Now, Boolean means, is it true or is it false? So, for example, if instead of email you were asking if somebody's married or not, and they said no, then that would be a true or false. Are they married? True. Are they married? False. So that's a Boolean. That's basically yes or no. And then object and array are different things. I just learned it today. I didn't learn it. I heard about it today and I already forgot. So we don't need to get deep into coding with all this stuff. I'm just telling you, full name, that's why it's set as string. It's not a number. It's not a yes or a no. It's a sentence. It's a string of words. Okay, and then all this other stuff you don't have to worry about. So now kind of like backing up a little bit again, this is the information that we need to extract, right? So now that we need to extract from the conversation. So now when we bring it back here, you're gonna notice that this tool, we call it what? Sobriety 7. So this assistant needs to be using this tool. And how do we make sure that it's using that tool? Well, when you come to the functions, we select Sobriety 7, right? There's no other tools here. It's just that one. If this one was like this, if it wasn't chosen, it'd be like that. That's how you're gonna see it. You wanna choose the tool. Right here, we have enable end call functions. We have this on. Basically what this means is if the AI can pick up on the fact that like the call is done. So let's come back to the script, and the person said, and the AI says, okay, cool. Well, make sure to message Cheyenne the word ready and goodbye now. When it says goodbye now, it's gonna wait for a little bit and then it's gonna end the call automatically. If you don't have this set up, then the person might not quit. They might not end the call and they might just kind of stay there, and it's just gonna ramp up. It's gonna add on to the minutes that you're using the AI, and you don't want that. You don't want to just be wasting minutes. So you want to have the end call function, the enable end call function on right here, so it ends the calls and it doesn't waste money when you can save it. So that's all you do for function right there. This tools gets connected to this, and that's how you select it there, right? We already went over that. Next, right here, you go to advanced, and honestly, I don't know what all these are. All I know is you want to be recording the audio. And so you turn that on, because that's when you can come over here to the logs and calls. You can actually hear all the conversations. You want to have that on so you can be inspecting and hearing like, okay, well, once you actually do start testing it with real people, what are these conversations sounding like? If there's adjustments that need to be made, then that's when you go in here and you make these adjustments. But if you don't have this on, then you're not recording anything. So right here for the start speaking plan, if you're going to the first section right here, wait seconds, this basically it tells the AI how long it should wait after a human is done talking on the phone before they start speaking. So you can see that it goes from 0 to 2 second wait. What I have is like somewhere right here, 3.1, 3.2. I honestly, now that I experienced it a little more, I kind of want to have it just a tad bit lower. Just a tad bit. Somewhere around the middle, because what I've noticed is that if you put this pretty low, somebody's going to be thinking on the phone, and they want to continue talking, and the AI is just going to interrupt them. So now that I think about it, I kind of want to bring that up because there's been a couple times where like I've had to pause to think about things and the AI interrupted me. So I'm going to keep that at 3. And then there's this other one right here, smart endpoint, the smart endpoint. So this just allows the AI to have better detection on the speech, on like where they're ending. Of course, turn that on. It makes it better. Okay, so next we have stop speaking plan. So this basically tells the AI voice when it should stop talking, right? So there's different parameters for this, but one of the ones that you can choose is number of words. How many words does the person need to speak before the AI stops talking? Next, it's the voice seconds. How many seconds should the person be talking before the AI stops talking? So right here, we have 0.5 seconds. We have it at max right here, because if you have it super low, if the person says yup and they agree with the AI voice, the AI voice is gonna stop talking, and we don't want that stuff. That's why we have it set to 4 words or 0.5 seconds of someone saying something. So that's why we have it there. And then lastly right here, this back off seconds. If the AI gets interrupted and it didn't really pick up on anything, maybe the person was talking to a family member, the AI voice might stop for a second, but if it doesn't pick up on anything, then it's just gonna continue talking, and it's not really gonna wait at all. It's not gonna wait at all. It's at 0 right here. Okay, so next we have call timeout settings right here. So this basically means configure when the assistant should end a call based on the silence or duration, right? So if for whatever reason the person just like dropped the phone and is not talking or anything, this is the seconds that you give it for the AI to just hang up the phone call. This is again very important. If you don't set this up to like at least 61 here, then you're gonna really risk ramping up these minutes and you're gonna get charged for no reason, because the human on the other side, they just stop talking, and if you don't have it set up right here, it's just gonna continue in the call and you're getting charged for all those minutes. Next, the max duration, the max number of seconds a call will last. Right here, I have it at 567. This definitely always keep it like pretty low depending on what the AI is for. For example, the AI that this is being used for, Grace right here for Sobriety 7, the business, it's being used to qualify people, see if they're a good fit for a community. So it's just asking a couple questions and then they should be off the phone call. It shouldn't last that long. So this, we have it set up for 567 seconds, which basically is like around 4 or 5 minutes, something like that. So that's what we have it set up, but that's gonna depend on what you're using the AI for. Next, right here, just like before, where right here in the tool integration, we added the link for it to communicate with the other platform like make.com. Same thing here, we're putting that same link in here. So we let it know, hey, for the messaging, the information that you're supposed to be extracting, this is like where you got to put the link. This is what you need to be communicating with. The next thing right here, we have client messages and server messages. In the beginning, you're going to have like multiple of these chosen, but you only need function calls and you only need the end of call report on, okay? Then besides that, you're going to go down here. You don't need to worry about these up here. Idle messages. So messages that the assistant will speak when the user hasn't responded. So like we set it up before right here earlier, when somebody stops speaking for a certain amount of time, the AI is gonna wait probably like 2, 3, 5 seconds. And if they don't hear anything from the human, it's gonna respond with one of these. That's what idle message means. So it's gonna respond with, are you there? Are you still there? Or how else can I assist you further, right? And right here, max idle messages, if our AI says these messages 5 times, then it's gonna end the call, right? idle message timeout, we have this set to 5 seconds, and this basically means timeout in seconds before an idle message is spoken, right? So if somebody hasn't said anything for 5 seconds, then it's going to throw up one of these messages. And if it does this more than 5 times, it hangs up the call, right? So this is just another way to help you save your money so you're not just spending it. Now, lastly, analysis, right? Nothing to put here in the prompt section for summary. Nothing to do right here either. Right here, you can set this up for 30, but I think that's the default that it has it there in 30. Now, analysis, this is the thing, like we said earlier, when you go to tools and you go to integration and this link helps Vapi communicate with another platform like make.com or Zapier. Don't worry about those right now. This structured data, this is what helps communicate what it needs to be sending out to the other platform. So the prompt you can see right here is you will be given a transcript of the call, which is right here. This is the the transcript of the call is here. Like what they talk about, right? And the transcript provider is DeepGram, right? So it's gonna, the Vapi is gonna grab a transcript of the call. So it's saying you will be given a transcript of the call and the system prompt of the AI participant. Extract the listed parameters. So this is directly communicating to the other platform, hey, we want to pull the full name, the phone number, and the call summary, right? The call summary is basically summarizing the call. What do they talk about in short? Just a little description. Because what this is doing, this is instructing you that this information, this is what we need to extract from the conversation, push it out to the other platform like make.com, and then from make.com, it gets it automated and sent to a sheet right here that we have for the client. So it would say, for example, Luis Castro, right? The phone number, just add numbers right there. And then right here, it would say the call consisted of the AI assistant talking to this person, and they happen to mention that they're struggling with this part, blah, blah, blah. You understand. It's creating a call summary, and it's sending that all over, right? And so this is how you instruct it. You need to make sure you pull out this information here. And when you type it out in your prompt, this is how you want to structure it, because this is how it's actually going to read it in terms of like coding and stuff like that. So you want to make sure full name, you want to put the colon right here. You want to put this, whatever, the squiggly line twice, full name underscore name, well, full underscore name, and then the other two squiggly lines on the other side. That's how you want to do it for all of these. So literally copy this. And then down here, what you're gonna do is add property. You're gonna click this, you're gonna make this exactly the same, full underscore name. You're gonna put it here. And then remember, like I said, you have string, number, boolean, like what we talked about earlier. The name, it's gonna be a string, and you wanna mark it as required. Then the same thing with call summary, string, mark as required, phone number, string, mark as required. And that's basically it. We ran through all of Vapi here. This is everything that you have to do to set up your AI voice. Once you're able to do all this, then this is where you can now take this, what you've created here, and now start creating automation. So for example, if this is a receptionist, right? And a client says, hey, they're gonna be passing by on X date. So if they could have somebody ready for them, then Vapi would be answering the phone, taking all this information, collecting the full name, the phone number, the call summary. It's going to give a description. And let's say they even say, I'm going to show up tomorrow at 2 p.m. Then Vapi would take all this information and send it to make.com, where make.com from there, now it would create an appointment in a calendar and automate it, create an event there, and then I'm just gonna show you guys right here actually. So for example, right here, we have a very simple automation setup for this. So like I said, all this information that is extracting from the person, it's gonna create a call summary, right? It's gonna extract the call summary, a phone number, and a full name from it. And what actually happens is that right here, this is where the trigger fires off and it sends all the information to Google Sheets. And it does this automation right here where now when somebody's done with the phone call, then all the information gets sent here. And that's what make.com does. It automates all that for you. We can take it even further. Say we wanted to put the appointment booked for tomorrow at 2 p.m. Then what you would do in make.com is create a calendar, right? You'd create a calendar. You'd create a calendar module right here. And then this calendar, you would connect it to your calendar and you would put create an event, right? Do we have create an event here? No. Oh, right here, create an event. So you would create an event, and now based on all the information that was talked about in the phone call and that's logged here, then it would actually make an appointment. It would create an event in your calendar. And so this is what make.com does. We're not gonna get super deep into it because today we're just focusing all our attention on Vapi, but that is basically it, guys. If you guys have any questions, please comment down below and I'll get back to it. If I don't and you want to ensure that I do get back to you, join the community. $15 a month. If you need any questions answered, they will be answered there. But with that said, guys, that's the video. Make sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for a lot of videos because I'm just going to be heavily going into voice AI for the next couple of years, and I'm going to make sure I perfect the skill, and I'm going to take you guys along with me. So guys, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one.